Let's get started. Create a new composition. Press Ctrl N or go to Composition, click New. Rename it to Map 1. For this composition, I'm using 2000 by 2000 pixels. Frame per second is 30 and duration of this composition is 30 seconds. Click OK. Right-click on the timeline and add a solid layer. Rename it to black. Click OK. Go to Effects and Presets and add a fractal noise effect to this layer. Change fractal type from basic to dynamic. Check Invert box. Go to Transform and change scale to 75. Move timeline to 0 seconds. Click Stopwatch next to Offset Turbulence. Now move the timeline to 30 seconds. And change the value to 1000 and -2000. Press Alt button and click Stopwatch next to Evolution. Right. Time multiply by 200. Go to Project window and duplicate Map 1. By pressing Ctrl D. Rename it to Map 2. Open this composition. Go to Fractal Noise Effect. Change contrast to 300 and brightness to -75. Create a new composition and rename it to Map 3. Size of this composition is 1920 by 1080 pixels. Frame per second is 30. And duration of this composition is also 30 seconds. Now add a black solid layer. Rename it to black. Change its size to 2000 by 2000 pixels. Go to Effects and Presets and add a fractal noise effect to this layer. Change fractal type from basic to dynamic. Check Invert box. Go to Transform and uncheck Uniform Scaling. Change scale width to 54 and change scale height to 59. Move timeline to 0 seconds. Click Stopwatch next to Offset Turbulence. Now move the timeline to 30 seconds. And change the value to 1000 and -1960. Press Alt button and click Stopwatch next to Evolution. Right. Time multiply by 100. Add a new black solid layer and rename it to Mask. Go to Toolbar and select Rectangle tool. Double-click to add a rectangle mask. Go to Mask Property and change Mask Feather to 580. Move the mask little up. Go to Project window. Duplicate Map 1 composition, by pressing Ctrl D. Rename it to Texture 1. Open this composition. Add an adjustment layer. Go to Effects and Presets and add a color balance effect to this layer. Change shadow green balance to -16 and change shadow blue balance to -35. Now change midtone green balance to -84 and change midtone blue balance to -82. Highlight red balance to 22, green balance to -47 and lastly blue balance to -74. Again go to Effects and Presets. Add hue, saturation effects to this layer. Change master hue to 9 degrees. And master saturation to 42. Go to Project window and duplicate Texture 1 layer. Go to Adjustment layer. Change master hue to 41 degrees. And master saturation to 41. Go to Effects and Presets and add Levels effect to this layer. Change input black to 217. Again go to Effects and Presets and Fast Blur to this layer. Change blurriness to 15. Create a new composition and rename it to Mirror 1. Go to Project window and drag Map 2 and Texture 2 to this timeline. Hide the visibility. Now add a black solid layer and rename to Mirror. Go to Effects and Presets and add Trapcode Mirror effect to this layer. Go to Geometry. Change position X and Y to 1000 by 1000. Change Rotate X to 90. Change vertices X and Y to 1500 each. And size X and Y to 2000 each. Go to Fractal. Change amplitude to 60. And change frequency to 20. Now move the timeline to 0 seconds. Click stopwatch next to offset Z. Move the timeline to 30 seconds and change its value to -2000. Change amplitude layer to map 2. Go to individual amplitude and frequency. Change frequency X and Y to 0. Go to Shader. Change Shader from Density to Smooth or Phong. Change Blend to Normal. Turn on Ambient Occlusion. Also change A/O Intensity to 20. Go to Material. Change Color to 224, 33 and 28. Change Specular to 500. And Specular Shininess to 5. Change Fall Off to Distance Squared. Go to Texture. Change Texture Layer to Texture 2 Comp. Now add a camera layer to the timeline. Go to Transform. Change Point of Interest to 960, 900 and 0. Change Position to 960, 380 and -711. Now add a point light to the timeline. Rename it to Light. Change its intensity to 200. Go to Light Transform. Change its position to 1040, 150 and -250. Go to Project window. And duplicate Mirror 1 composition, by pressing Ctrl D. Open this composition. Delete Map 2 and Texture 2 from the timeline. Add Map 1, Map 3 and Texture 1 compositions to the timeline. Hide the visibility. Go to Mirror Layer and to Mirror Effect. Go to Geometry. Change position X and Y to 960 and 540. Go to Fractal. Change Amplitude Layer to Map 1. Go shader and change multi-sample to 20. In new version, it's in rendering properties. Go to texture and change texture layer to texture 1 composition. Go to light and change its intensity to 180. Go to project window. Drag Mirror 1 comp to the timeline. Change its mode from normal to add. Now add adjustment layer. Go to effects and presets. And add curves effect to this layer. Change color channel as per your need. Now add a black solid layer to the timeline. Rename it to smoke. Add a Trapcode particular effect to this layer. Go to emitter. Change particles per second to 500. Change emitter type to box. Change position X and Y to 960 and 820. Change emitter size X to 1420, size Y to 100 and size Z to 1100. Go to particles. Change particle type to cloudlet. Change size to 74. And opacity to 0.6. Also change opacity over life using presets. Go to physics. Change gravity to -73. And physics time factor to 0.5. Create a new composition. Rename it to final. Go to project window. Drag Mirror 2 comp to the timeline. Go to effects and presets. Add hue saturation effect to this layer. Change master saturation to -40. Now add curves effect to this layer. Change color channel as per your need. Again add Mirror 2 composition to the timeline. Change its mode to add. Add a color balance effect to this layer. Change midtone red balance to -35, green balance to -1 and blue balance to -9. Change highlight red balance to 38, green balance to -85 and blue balance to -83. Add adjustment layer to the timeline. Add curves effect to this layer. Change color channel as per your need. That is folks for today. I hope you like my video. If you like the video, please click the like button. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe to it. Thank you and have a nice day.